Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. What is wrong with these people? I mean, seriously, what is wrong with these Democrats and these neocon, rhino, anti-Trump conservatives like Liz Cheney? How can you become such a person? Someone who is so willing to deny reality, somebody who is so close-minded, so partisan, that they're willing to throw away their dignity and basic credibility in the pursuit of their political goals. I mean, you have to be a bad person. There's no other way to say it. I guess there is another way to say it. You have to be a politician, a real politician in the true sense of the word. I mean, the January 6th committee has suffered some serious blows. It's been a complete failure in the ratings. It hasn't moved the needle politically whatsoever. It hasn't hurt Donald Trump's popularity, if anything, the opposite. It's been a complete and utter objective failure at every single step. And the conclusion of failure, and most recently with Mrs. Cassidy Hutchinson, well, I'd say that's probably the failure conclusion to this January 6th sham witch hunt. I mean, after such embarrassing testimony that instantly got rebuked and debunked less than 5 hours after it aired, you would think it's time for Liz Cheney and Adam Schiff to accept defeat, to accept the failure of their January 6th commission. But no, of course not. They are doubling down and now claiming that they have sufficient evidence of multiple criminal acts or violations of law, and they are now suggesting that the committee may suggest criminal charges or indict Trump. These people are sociopaths. You have to be a bad person who doesn't care about the truth to continue to promote the lies that Cassidy Hutchinson delivered during her testimony. You have to be a bad person, especially with the most recent development, a leaked text message from back when CPAC was going on February 1st, where Cassidy Hutchinson, before she changed her lawyer and came up with this massive bombshell allegation, well, apparently back then, during CPAC, Mrs. Cassidy Hutchinson, and I'm quoting, described the January 6th committee as, quote, BS. This is the very credible witness with the totally unbelievable, already debunked story that Liz Cheney and Adam Schiff think give them sufficient evidence to indict Donald Trump. These are bad people, folks. These are evil, corrupt people who will stop at nothing. Let me show you the text. Let me show you what Liz Cheney's saying. Let me show you what Adam Schiff's saying. Excuse me for the long-winded intro. I'm just a little bit animated right now. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, friends, take a look at this. Exclusive. Text messages show Cassidy Hutchinson referred to January 6th committee as, quote, BS. On February 1st, Hutchinson sent a text to a conservative activist with connections to the First Amendment Fund, which is a group started by the American Conservative Union that helps Trump officials cover the cost for January 6 lawyers. Matt Schlapp said Hutchinson approached CPAC for help through the First Amendment Fund. Schlapp said that he is happy that they did not end up assisting her because she was relaying White House hallway gossip as fact. Jody Hunt writes on Twitter, Miss Hutchinson testified under oath and recounted what she was told. Those with knowledge of the episode also should testify under oath. I mean, first I gotta address this from Mr. Jody Hunt. Mrs. Cassidy Hutchinson did not recount what she was told. She recounted things that were said to the effect of.
He had responded something to the effect of, we're going to the Capitol. Said something to the effect of, there's a lot going on, Cass. Mr. Cipollone said something to the effect of, the president said something to the effect of, I'm the effing president. He said something to the effect of, he's really ticked off about this.
But Mr. Matt Schlapp responds, Mrs. Hutchinson approached at CPAC for help through our First Amendment Fund, which has helped January 6 political victims defend themselves. I am pleased that we did not assist her performance today. Relaying White House hallway gossip as fact does not qualify as first-person testimony. Then it gets even worse, because then someone working with Mr. Matt Schlapp released a text message conversation with Mrs. Cassidy Hutchinson to the Daily Caller. Take a look at this. Hey, this is Cassidy Hutchinson. Kind of a random question, but do you still work for the Schlapps at the ACU? The individual responds, hi, yes. Do you happen to know a First Amendment Fund POC I could reach out to? I was subpoenaed in early November, but the committee waited to serve me until last week after Ben's deposition. I had to accept service because the U.S. Marshals came to my apartment last Wednesday, but I haven't made contact with the committee. I'm on a tight timeline, just trying to figure out what my options are to deal with this BS. Now, this could be interpreted in all kinds of different ways, sure, but the fact of the matter is she is describing the committee as BS that she has to deal with. And this was back in February. There's just nothing here that makes sense. First of all, hearsay is not fact. Relaying what you might have heard in the grapevine or that somebody said something to the effect of is not first-hand witness testimony. She's already been debunked by the Secret Service agents who were actually there, and her testimony and the situation with her lawyers is all just too suspicious. A couple weeks ago, she switches to a Democrat lawyer, and then all of a sudden she has this massive, grandiose claim that puts her in the spotlight, launches this emergency hearing, and then she's caught hugging Liz Cheney at the end of the event. She very carefully crafted her statement and her testimony to not perjure herself, using legal jargon to protect herself, and so the whole thing just seems disingenuous, like a bunch of flat-out lies, just like every other piece of evidence, and I say that in quotation marks, that's been presented during these hearings. And they're still doubling down. Liz Cheney, it is possible January 6th committee will make criminal referral against Trump.
So the committee will or will not make a criminal referral?
We'll make a decision as a committee about it.
So it's possible there will be a criminal referral, which
yes.
would be effectively the committee saying that he should be prosecuted, and this is the evidence that we've uncovered.
The Justice Department doesn't have to wait for the committee to make a criminal referral. And there could be more than one criminal referral.
Adam Schiff says Trump engaged in multiple violations of the law, suggests January 6th committee may indict Trump.
You know, for 4 years, the Justice Department took the position that you can't indict a sitting president. If the department were now to take the position that you can't investigate or indict a former president, then a president becomes above the law. That's a very dangerous idea that the founders would have never subscribed to. Even more dangerous, I think, in the case of Donald Trump. Donald Trump is someone who has shown when he's not held accountable, he goes on to commit worse and worse abuses of power. So I agree with Judge Carter in California. I think there was evidence that the former president engaged in multiple violations of the law, and that should be investigated.
All right, well, that's nice and all, Adam Schiff, but please explain to me, what violation of the law is Donald Trump guilty of? Oh, and there you go, the whole thing falls apart. With one little question, Adam Schiff would not be able to answer that question, because Donald Trump broke no laws. You know, it's just like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's policy plans. How are you going to pay for that? Boom, conversation over, debate one. These people are dishonest, hateful, vile, delusional, corrupt, and they will stop at nothing. No amount of counter evidence, no general lack of evidence will ever change their minds. I mean, look how dishonest and delusional these people are. Stunning. Adam Kinzinger says Secret Service agent who was in the car with Trump when president was accused of grabbing the steering wheel, quote, likes to lie. Yes, Cassidy Hutchinson, whose story makes no sense. She basically perjured herself. I mean, logically and physically it makes no sense. She identified the wrong vehicle. She wasn't even there, as well as everything else that discredits her. That's credible information, Adam Kinzinger tells you. The actual person, the Secret Service agent, the person who swore an oath to the country, a clear man of integrity, whose job requires him to put his own life in risk to defend the president and the country, the man who was actually there, either driving the car or by the president's side. Those people, they're just lying. Cassidy Hutchinson is the one to be believed. Give me a break. The only liars are the corrupt politicians sitting along the January 6th Commission panel, period. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.